So let me go ahead and share my screen. And hopefully you can see the screen, right? Mehul bhai?
Yes, all good, all clear.
Perfect, perfect. Sounds good. Anyone joining from outside India? Again, apart from Richard? Or all attendees are from India itself? Oh, Spain. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks, Daniel. And Neeraj, you are joining from Sydney. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks. What time is it in Spain right now, Daniel? And in Sydney as well, Neeraj? 3:30 p.m. is good. But what about Spain? 7:30 in the morning, and Richard is in London or close to London, and it's like 6:30 a.m. for
I
him.
know. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. There you are.
Very good. I think we have 112, 113, 114. Let's give it one more minute and then we'll start. Okay, it's already 11:01, so I do not want you guys to wait because you joined on time. So good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are joining in. Thanks for joining EliteCISOs weekly webinar that we conduct on every Thursday at 11 a.m. India time. So you can see today's topic is securing the public cloud, and we have Richard from Sophos joining us today from close to a location from London, 2-hour drive from London, and it's like 6:30 a.m. for him. I'm sure, Richard, you would have got enough coffee to go through the entire session and entertain about 130 people live right now.
Definitely. This is easy after 2 toddlers. Don't worry. I'm up at this time every day.
That's good. That's good. So let me quickly walk the guys through the agenda, what we have. So if you can see, yeah, so as typically we do on the agenda side, 11 to 11:05, it's a quick welcome to everyone. And then we will start the session with a quiz, right? And the quiz is going to be fastest finger first. I will share 2 questions and you have to type the answers as early as possible. Even if you are going to do a Google, do it quickly and type the answer. And Mehul bhai, I will request you to identify the person who gave the right answer first, right? So you have to note that person who gave the right answer. And I will share the
Perfect.
answer as well. Great. So after the quiz, we will get to the Sophos session that will run for about 40-45 minutes around public cloud security. After that, we will keep around 10 minutes for question answers. You can ask questions during the session as well. You can put it in the chat window. But if you want to ask live questions, we will have to wait till the end and then you can ask the questions. We will have Kahoot quiz as well as we do every week with Sophos on every session with Sophos. So there will be about 7 questions and we will pick 5 winners, right? So that will be the Kahoot quiz. After that, I will share the CPE password so that you can download your participation certificate. We will open the registration for next week and then at the end, we will do Wheel of Fortune as we do every week in our webinars. And giveaway for today's webinar is going to be a nice foot massager, right? That is a good giveaway. And why foot massager? Because we throw this challenge every week, which is stand and attend. So if you are joining for the first time, this may be something new because all the other people who join Elite CISO webinar, they are already aware about it. So stand and attend challenge is that we ask people to stand while attending the webinar. So you can see I'm standing. Why we are saying this? I show this slide every week, right? If you are sitting, you get foggy brain, heart disease and everything. And if you stand, you will get better posture, less pain in the body. But while I was doing this research, I got to a website which is juststand.org. If you look at my screen right now, there's a website called juststand.org. And what it says that sitting is literally a disease, right? There's a very good research being done and they have documented a lot of points around it. So they are literally calling sitting as a disease and they are talking about various benefits of standing up, right? It might sound that it's very basic. We just have to stand, but there are a lot of benefits to your overall health, your mind, your body. If you stand, your bone health will be better. You will have enhanced brain power. You will burn more calories. That's what we want. So I recommend you guys go to juststand.org and take a look what they're talking about in terms of standing while not attending just Elite CISO webinars, but yes, standing in general. So this challenge is to everyone, including panel members, including speakers, including attendees. So go to the chat and type yes if you are going to accept this challenge. And this challenge is for everyone. Sridhar, Ninand, wonderful. Great. It's very good to see you guys participating and saying yes on the chat window. It is all good energy. That's what we need. So great, great. Thanks for accepting this challenge. Now let me go back to the quiz. Okay, guys. It is fastest finger first, and you have to type the right answer on the chat window. Okay, guys. I am going to the quiz now. You will get 30 seconds to answer. If you do not answer in 30 seconds, we will move to the next question. So the first question is, what is the CVE number of the vulnerability used in Kaseya ransomware? This happened very recently. You have to type the CVE number, the actual CVE ID. Okay, one ID I can see coming in from Sandeep. Okay, great. Keep putting, guys. Okay, 30 seconds over and we will see what is the right number. So the right CVE ID is CV-2021-30116. And then everybody has got it right. I mean, you have got great Google skills, but the first one to answer will win the prize. Okay, great. Second question coming up, guys. So Microsoft has released a security update for the Windows users to patch a flaw impacting the Windows print spooler service. Very nice. And the answer is already there. The answer is print nightmare. That was the name that was given to this flaw. Print nightmare. Wonderful. So Mehul bhai, note down the first two people who answered the right to the question. And then we will give Amazon 1,000 rupees voucher to both of these guys. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. That's what the quiz was. Now over to you, Richard. So let me stop sharing, and Richard, you can start sharing your screen.
Fantastic. 1 second. Let me bring my presentation up. There we go. Is that coming through okay?
Yep, coming fine.
Fantastic. Hi everyone. Good to speak to you today. So my name's Richard Beckett, and I'm part of the public cloud security group here at Sophos. So that really for us includes everything from our anti-ransomware services, our cloud security posture management services that we'll talk about today, firewall, managed threat response, a whole range of different areas. But today, what I'll be doing, I'm going to walk you through in the session today, really what we're seeing at Sophos in the security landscape as more organizations start to move to the public cloud. And to bring that to life a little bit, I'll share with you how many of our customers are starting to respond to these shifts, the best practices that they're adopting in products and protection, and really how you can best leverage cloud security posture management tools that are available from us to secure your cloud environments. Because CSPM tools, these can be quite new to a lot of people. So it's great to find ways to kind of get the most value out of them. Now, really to begin, we must touch on the shared responsibility model. And this is all about your role in securing workloads and data. And you see, as you move to the cloud, it's really important to take the time to understand your cloud provider's own model in terms of their shared responsibility. And today we're going to be talking about infrastructure as a service, so IaaS. So from a Sophos perspective and how we can best help you here, this is primarily looking at how we can help you secure Amazon Web Services environments, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform primarily. Now, the simplest way to think about this is that you will inherit the physical data center security from these providers, from Amazon, from Microsoft, but you still need to and must secure everything you run in the cloud. So whether that's cloud server instances, whether that's databases, whether that's data you're storing there, the applications you're running, and so on, that is all down to the company, to you to secure. Now, first off, let's, as we dive into the stories here, let's look at the shifts that are occurring in the cloud. And the first probably won't be sort of much news to a lot of you. There's a big business shift going on in the cloud. We're all looking for those ways to improve productivity, improve efficiency, and cloud's going to be the great enabler in that shift. And those efficiencies are really often realized through migration of data and applications into the cloud. So you can start to work from anywhere, so you can lower costs of operations, improve performance, scalability, and so on. But the consequence of that is the environment shift, and that environment shift can make it quite hard for security teams to keep pace with that level of change. You see, as you start to expand in the cloud, you're also going to generate a growing attack surface area. You're going to have likely multi-cloud environments, or definitely multi-account environments with the same provider. You might be launching new services that you haven't run before, things like containers, things like serverless functions. And depending on what you're doing as an organization, you'll likely have dynamic, sort of elastic environments that can change and scale daily, if not even hourly, in a lot of cases for some of our customers. So that can all make it very hard to understand and keep visibility of what you have running at any given time. And couple all this, these are all benefits, but couple all this with new ways that software and supporting infrastructure can now be created. You may be running sort of new methodologies like DevOps, for instance, meaning cloud services and the supporting infrastructure can now be created and can be configured without the security team's knowledge in a lot of cases. When we talk to a number of customers now, I've had this story a number of times, particularly since the pandemic in the last year, where the security team were securing certain workloads with antivirus, etc., and they weren't aware that other teams within the organization were spinning up other cloud services unprotected, kind of outside of the company's core security policy. So getting that level of visibility is really key to helping your business move fast there. Now, couple all this with the attacker shift that's also going on here. This attacker shift to automated attacks targeting cloud resource misconfigurations. And misconfigurations are a newer area that we now have to deal with. And you can start to see the challenge here that speed and agility of the cloud, while it's a fantastic benefit, that the challenge that can create for security tools and security teams. Now, in this view, what you can see here is just how quickly attackers now can identify your weak points, your misconfigurations within your cloud environments from a recent Sophos Labs research project. And this is just demonstrating here how attackers are automating searches for misconfigurations. In this case, it's leaving SSH exposed, and we spun up, I think it was 10 server workloads across the world and just sat back to look at how quickly attackers would start brute force attacks, how quickly they'd be able to identify the resources and attempt brute force attacks onto those resources, in this case kind of with SSH exposed. But these gaps in security, these misconfigurations, and we'll go into that in a bit more detail later on, these can now be discovered in less than a minute. So the threat here is very real from misconfigurations, and unfortunately, as you can see here, window to respond is incredibly short as well. But there are no headlines, unfortunately, for the businesses like you that are successfully defending yourselves against the thousands of breach attempts that are going on every day. This is largely due to the significant improvements in cybersecurity, really, how it can be the enabler ultimately for cloud transformation, how it can support your teams to go faster, to match that agility of cloud services and the methodologies that you adopt there. So to release your teams from some of the biggest challenges that we've covered there, from their ability to go fast, if you like, to enable the business to move fast, there are three key areas that I want you to think about, and we'll expand on these as we go through the session. The first one is visibility. Ultimately, having the tools that makes it possible to view security posture, compliance posture across multi-cloud, multi-account environments. It's a huge time saving if you can join all of that telemetry and all of that data into one UI, one consistent UI, one single screen that you can view at the same time, rather than moving into AWS and Azure or different service consoles and so on. So a big sort of time saving there. And not just in response time, being able to identify these issues as quickly as possible and fix them, but also onboarding time, and training time and management time for your teams, being able to do that through one single pane of glass. The next sort of area is around closing the skill gap. While platform provider services can be very helpful and will ultimately probably be your first step into cloud security, will be to adopt the cloud provider platform services, because you're already in their console. Cloud environments and their services have this potential to become very noisy, and you've got tools there that are going to tools that are going to help you identify the critical alerts and either provide you with detailed guidance to fix the issues and close that skill gap, or automatically provide protection. They're again going to be keys to your agility. And then last thing, excuse me, think about how you identify the weak signals, or respond to incidents at 3 a.m. in the morning. As attackers move to more hands-on keyboard activity, combining standard processes and tools with automation, IT security needs to do the same. We need to hunt, we need to detect the suspicious behaviors and events before they become a breach within your environment. Now, to build a secure, scalable base for your cloud transformation, our approach here at Sophos is threefold primarily. Kind of the likely trio that we tend to move organizations to initially. The first is around getting the basics right, and this really starts with comprehensive visibility. So organizations, we need to gain the full visibility into what resources are being added, changed, or removed to really help you reduce the business risk created through those resource misconfigurations, those security vulnerabilities within your environment. Now, to do that, we always recommend that people adopt a security monitoring tool to identify the weaknesses in configuration and make cloud security posture management a key priority in that cloud journey. For Sophos, we do this through Sophos Cloud Optix, and I'm going to expand on this a little later during the session today. So we'll come back to this, and we'll also have a brief demo as well, so you can exactly see what you're looking at there from Cloud Optix. Okay, now automation of workload protection agents like InterceptX for server here at Sophos. This is another key element to consider. You see, malware, ransomware, these are just as prevalent in the cloud as they are on premises. In fact, we did a recent global survey here at Sophos, and found that 59% of attacks, ransomware attacks, where the data was encrypted, is now involving data in the public cloud. So the need here for antivirus, with protection from malware and ransomware and exploits and so on, these are just as crucial in the cloud as they are on-prem. But what I like to draw attention to here is, just as an important area of planning here is to review what workloads, what applications will move to the cloud and when you start to plan that out. You see, as you shift resources or you deploy new cloud server workloads to support, say, remote working, so you're popping up new VDI deployments and so on, look out for how portable your protection is from an anti-malware perspective. Can it move with you from on-prem to cloud? Can you manage it all from the same console, or without having to learn new tools? The beauty of Sophos is you can do all that. It is fully portable from on-prem to the cloud from an anti-ransomware, anti-malware agent point of view. So just thinking through what's going to move to the cloud and when, how do I get the best ROI? That's, thinking that through is just going to get the best ROI when planning out your cloud migrations. And ultimately, it's going to help you reduce the resource impact on your IT security teams as well, having to pick up new tools, learn new interfaces, and so on. We can rule that out for you. Okay, so that's around cloud workload protection. Next, start to review and use EDR and XDR services. These can now be included in the InterceptX Advanced for Server product, that anti-malware agent. So it's making those products even more accessible. And this just helps you, identify and query and search for threats across the environment. And as important to that is think about adding a managed threat response service overlay to those EDR and XDR services to really make sure you're monitoring and looking for those weaker signals that could be early indicators of a breach. Now, automated protection is crucial, as we mentioned before, but the reason that this is so important is that attackers are now increasingly moving to these more stealthy approaches to compromise systems. So organizations just need to be able to identify, the breadcrumbs, the critical weak signals of attacker behavior within your environment before they will become strong signals and it's too late. So they often find that the challenges presented by time and resource availability can make it almost impossible for organizations to carry out this 24/7 monitoring that's required. And this is where the Sophos Managed Threat Response Service really comes into play, where our dedicated teams of threat experts proactively hunt for potential threats, suspicious behavior that could lead to a serious security breach. So as we talk to companies around the world, and I'm building a lot of customer stories at the moment as we work even more closely with AWS and Azure, a lot of the reasons why a lot of customers adopt MTR is that they want someone who can augment their team, if you like, whose sole purpose is to stay on top of threats, to be the expert in those scenarios and aggregate telemetry across the globe, across different organizations, and channel that into their organization to hunt for those threats, to spot them even faster, so they don't have to respond at 3 a.m. and that the MTR service can spring into life and start actioning on any incidents affecting the business. Okay, so that's our headline recommended approach to securing cloud environments with Sophos. But today, what I'll focus a little more on cloud security posture management. And for Sophos, that is Sophos Cloud Optix. As this really just, as we mentioned at the start, gives your team the visibility needed to see what you're running in the cloud and where you have vulnerabilities that might be exploited and how to go on and fix them. So Cloud Optix, this cloud security posture management tools as a category, think of these here to help you combine and extend cloud provider services, things like Amazon Guard Duty, AWS CloudTrail, Sentinel, for instance, from Azure, and combine and extend those into a single interface across all of your cloud environments. At its core, it's all about helping you to identify and, importantly, risk profile the security, compliance, and also cloud spend alerts as well. And it provides, importantly, the contextual information there to start grouping affected resources rather than just alert you to everything going on in the environment, and give you detailed remediation steps, plus the ability to inject kind of auto remediation functions as well, where that's appropriate in your particular business. So Cloud Optix, the kind of the hub here is to provide you with that complete visibility of your assets within your cloud environments. It's going to allow your teams to view accurate inventories of everything you have running, so the facts and the figures, if you like, of what you have running, and as you can see here on the image on the right, generate these on-demand topology visualizations. So these are big. This is a big requirement in terms of compliance. So it's going to save you hours, if not days of time. And it's always going to be accurate, importantly, on demand. So just saving a lot of time there for your teams. The next area is it's going to continually analyze cloud environments for security risks, including cloud configurations and deployments that are insecure. So we spoke a bit about misconfigurations earlier, but these could include things like unrestricted access from the internet. Could be open ports on your server workloads, things like RDP and SSH, for instance. Could be unencrypted data that could lead or create a breach point. But as well as doing that, it's also looking at key areas like user access anomalies into your cloud provider management consoles, or overprivileged identity access management roles that could be abused or used by an attacker, and also compliance policy failures. So it does a lot more than just identifying those misconfigurations around security. And importantly, it does this from the development cycle, so your CI, your CD pipeline, if you've got a DevOps team, for instance, does it all through from that development cycle through to the ongoing security of live cloud services in your production environments. So, gone are the days where your development environment is in a box under someone's desk. It's going to be in the cloud. It could contain dummy customer information, even real customer information, and attackers are just as likely to go after it or find that as a route into your environments. So this is all about ensuring, security misconfigurations are never released into a live environment where an attacker could use them there to then compromise your systems. And then lastly is, it's extending checks beyond just security and compliance. So Cloud Optix also helps you as an organization to start to optimize AWS and Azure service costs. So it's going to track cloud costs for multiple services side by side. And I'll show you this briefly in the demo later on. But if you've ever had to do this within a cloud provider console, you'll know you have to traverse different screens, and it's hard to get that a single view of what you're spending and if that's up or down or how it varies between different months. So this is all there to, again, improve your visibility, but also help you reduce wasted spend, drive accountability into those teams that are consuming resources in the cloud. Think of this as all the most useful parts of a very granular cost management service, all deployed and made available to you alongside your security. Okay. Now, we'll just focus on a few key areas before I dive into that demo. So we talked a lot about speed and automation of attacker services, searches for your assets earlier. So we want to make it or enable you, if you like, to automate the identification of vulnerabilities and remediation as much as possible. We want you to move faster than the attackers. Ultimately, that's kind of what we really want to achieve here. So you cut them off at the pass, if you like. So to start with there, we use AI to enable traceability of unusual user access. So as in, my development team normally log in Delhi, now they're logging in London, in the UK. That looks really unusual, could be a sign that my credentials have been misused maliciously by an attacker. We're also looking at API calls there, unusual API calls into your environment, as in maybe an attacker's remotely deploying server instances in my environment to run crypto mining, and I didn't, that's not me doing that. We can identify that as well. And we can also look for changes in configuration, obviously, as well. Now, we inject security as well at all layers of development, as I mentioned. So we do this with integration of security checks within those development pipelines. And particularly here, we're looking at security vulnerabilities in your infrastructure as code templates, things like CloudFormation or Azure ARM templates, and looking at those templates that are, if you like, automating the deployment of new infrastructure. But we're also able to look at container images that you might be deploying into your environment, whether that's Amazon Container Registry, Azure Container Registry, whether you're using Docker, for instance, looking at OS vulnerabilities within those templates, and also signposting where if vulnerabilities exist and have been patched, when those newer versions of images are now available for your teams to deploy. We can also automate security best practices, and we do that. Really, this is all about taking some of the weight of security mapping in terms of compliance and security best practices into your environment off your hands. So what we'll do here is take industry standards like SOC 2, PCI compliance, ISO 27001, and map your infrastructure automatically to those best practices. And then we've got with policies in there that make sense of those requirements of each standards and report back to you and identify areas that need attention, importantly, that you can go on and then fix those issues before any audits come up within your organization. And then lastly, it's important then to just continually monitor those configurations, ensuring you stay in compliance, and any misconfigured changes introduced into the platform, if you like, any deviations from your desired security posture, well, they can be identified immediately, basically, and fixed as quickly as possible for your organization. So that's the kind of the name of the game here, is to automate as much as possible and serve that information to you as quickly as possible to stay ahead. Now, if we next we'll just take visibility very literally for a moment. Visibility gets used, it's like the new word, it gets used a lot. So we want to be really literal here. So Cloud Optix is enabling you as an organization to also see what you have running reliably in the cloud at any given time. So importantly here, it's going to give you real-time snapshots of the hosts you're running, the containers, the networks, the security groups, the user accounts, the storage services, and so on. And from that information, create these accurate network diagrams to, again, save you hours of time ultimately. But where it gets, I think, even more valuable here is it allows you to see how those resources are connected and the traffic flows between them. And because we can see how traffic is flowing, we can see what unusual behavior is through AI within those environments. So for instance, you've suddenly got an attack in your environment moving data out of the environment. That's a very unusual pattern, so we can alert you to it very quickly so you can stop it. But I think where this is even more valuable, again, is going a little further there to show you how traffic might flow within your environment. And we do that by looking at the security group settings with your cloud provider. So looking at how traffic may flow within or sort of into or out of your environment. And this is particularly important because you might not realize that access to or from the public internet is allowed for key resources such as databases. And that is a major cause of company breaches and a major source of compliance failures. So we want you to identify that weakness, that weak point, if it is unintended, before an attacker can identify it. Now, next, I'll talk to the alerting within Cloud Optix, and this ability to really prioritize, assess and prioritize risks and security weaknesses within your environment. And we do this through smart alerts. These alerts consolidate the security and compliance alerts across your cloud providers and identify those unusual behaviors that humans, like we could miss basically in isolation. So this automated detection, this prioritization of deviations in security posture, this was actually particularly crucial for one of our customers, for all of our customers, but I have one to show you here. This is Nico, based out in Benelux. And when Nico, what they found, they were needing to monitor employee access into their cloud environments. And the benefit here for them was that they now only have to monitor the flagged like deviations in the Cloud Optix dashboard instead of in order to safeguard their current levels of security. So what it's doing for them is reducing their alert total, but also identifying just the high risk events, say the 1 in 1,000 events, if you like, that might be generated across AWS and Microsoft and Google to jump in there and address them. And that just means that they can give all of the teams that need access into their cloud environments, the flexibility to carry on and do their jobs with the reassurance that they're all doing it safely and securely ultimately. Now, what ties this all together is really better collaboration between teams and better remediation tools, ultimately, making it simple for you to fix issues affecting your security and compliance status quickly. So, excuse me, we did that in 3 different areas. The first one is around integrations with third-party ticketing services that make collaboration much easier between your various development, security, and operations teams involved in fixing any compliance and security alert. So, for instance, we can take alerts generated by Optix and create Jira and ServiceNow tickets directly from within the Cloud Optix console. So you can identify an issue and you can assign that task out to someone on your team to fix it and track the fix of that issue as much as possible. And this really helps just to integrate things like compliance into standard workflows. So you're not preparing for the next audit for a month before the next 6 months or yearly audit, for instance. You just chip away at this over time and keep good security posture. Then importantly, it's important to give you the tools to remediate these issues as much as possible. So we give you guidance on how to fix every issue identified by Cloud Optix, detailed remediation steps, but we can also give you auto remediation capabilities. Now, it's important to caveat this, that when we talk to customers, you want to keep write access into your environments. You don't necessarily want Sophos to have that write access. So Cloud Optix is just using read-only access into your environments. But what we now do based on that feedback is we've developed these webhook integrations. And what this does is allow you to define, say, Lambda functions within your environments to say, when I see this alert, perform this remediation function automatically for me. And we'll be building a library of these functions as well that you can directly tap into in the future. So it's really about keeping you in control of the environment, but making it as easy as possible for you to remediate issues. And then lastly, I'll just touch on, also allowing you to suppress alerts if needed, maybe until the start of the new development sprint, for instance, when resources become available. And importantly here, this isn't blanket suppression. We can suppress alerts down to individual resource level, not the entire rule, the entire policy, if you like. So giving you that granularity of control as well, if you do need to suppress alerts. Now, all of this, in terms of those product features and capabilities, all of this makes it possible to wipe out some very avoidable security weaknesses and potential security breach points when Cloud Optix is actively managed either by you or a Sophos partner, for instance. And to help bring this to life just a little bit, I'm going to cover the top 3 potential breach points, from the low-hanging fruit to the more advanced areas of security. As in a review of all newly onboarded customers to the Cloud Optix service here, these were the most worrying trends that we found in organizations' security posture. Whether that was from exposing RDP, so remote desktop protocol, whether it was creating access roles with excessive permissions that could be exploited, could be misconfigurations of data storage from unencrypted databases through to shared storage like Amazon S3 or hard drive snapshots with public access. So a range of different issues here. But as I mentioned, all of this can be wiped out for you. So what we'll do, let's just take a quick look at how you would identify and remediate these vulnerabilities. And to do that, I'm going to give you a very brief demo. I'm going to give you a break from PowerPoint for a minute. So let's dive straight in to the Cloud Optix console. So here I am in, this is interface called Sophos Central here at Sophos. This is where you would access all of your security products, whether that be endpoint, server protection, firewall, whether it be CSPM, email, mobile protection, and so on. And this is where you would manage your whole cloud, public cloud security stack with Sophos. Now we're going to head, this is the Cloud Optix dashboard initially. I'm not going to spend too long on here. What I really want to do is help you sort of identify those issues that we covered a moment ago. So first off, I'm going to show you this. This is the inventory summary of your cloud environments. So as you can see here, I've got set up in this account AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform environments. And what this view is giving me is a very accurate, on-demand view of everything I have running, whether that be hosts, containers, my network services in terms of VPCs and security groups, whether that be storage around shared storage or database services, my IAM roles within my organization, and serverless functions down here as well for all of the different cloud providers. And what you can see, this is all color coded in a traffic light system as well to help you identify any issues. Red is bad, that you need to jump in and fix. So if I take storage, for instance, if it's a lot of the cases, S3 or blob storage is compromised because it is left in public mode. It can be identified and it can be accessed by attackers. So there can be valid reasons for this, but a lot of the time not. So here we can jump straight into those issues and start to address the problem by diving into specific alerts. And here you can see this is set in public mode. It's also not encrypted, so a double no-no really from that point of view. MFA is also deleted, so this person's this person should have been securing this resource a lot better. But it helps you to prioritize, importantly there, from an inventory point of view. What I'll also just come back to briefly is that network topology visualization. So this is again where we're turning that inventory information into accurate network diagrams, helping you see where the traffic is flowing within your environment, and importantly, by looking at my security groups, looking at how traffic could flow within my environment. So this particular resource has a port open that I should be dealing with, and that's the you can see that's the red line there showing any bad activity, but that was all flagged in our inventory view as well. Okay, so that's just the high level view there. What I'll now do is let's look at how we would identify RDP within our environments. So this is my alert view is going to give me all alerts across all of my different cloud environments. I can also filter this down to specific, I just want to look at AWS, I just want to look at Azure or a specific account, for instance, I can do that too. Let's look at everything so it looks more interesting. And instantly you see there at the top, we're prioritizing these issues around your environment. So you can easily dive straight in at my critical and my high alerts and not get bogged down in the other 250 lower level alerts initially. But if I want to find RDP, for instance, I can quickly search by that, and we can see there that we have some critical alerts where RDP access is exposed to the public internet. Now, what we can then do is dive straight into those alerts, and this is where I mentioned we're going to give you remediation guidance. So for any alert within Cloud Optix, we're going to give you a summary of what's wrong, a full description of why that's a bad thing, as in attackers could use brute force techniques to gain entry through RDP, and give you remediation guidance. And that will show you exactly where to go within the cloud provider console. If you're using AWS, it can even launch you straight into the console. It's just different APIs are available from different providers. And it can also show you which resources are affected there. And this is a great way that we start to group affected resources by common issues. Rather than alert you 4 times, we alert you once and then let you fix the resources that are affected by those issues. Now from here, as I mentioned, I can then I can assign these tasks straight out through Jira and ServiceNow. I can suppress the alerts if I like. I can even take these alerts and push them into the service you want them to be received in. So say you want to receive these in Slack or Teams or Amazon SNS topics. Say you want to push the, you want to manage this all from Splunk. We can do that too. So you can take this out to your SIEM provider as well. So it's making this information as accessible as possible and making it, available where you want it to be made available. There's also an API here as well, so you can push this into, custom security projects that you might be running. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to head over to the reports view in just a moment to show you where this information can be serviced from like an auditing perspective. But importantly there, you can start to initially see all of these alerts are also tagged to compliance and security best practice standards. So if these impact my ISO 27001 attainment, then we'll flag that for you here as well. Now, if I dive over into reports very quickly, I'm conscious of time because I've been talking a bit too much, so I want to give everyone time for questions. What we can see here is in our reporting view is any security best practice standard. So for instance, CIS benchmarks, GDPR down here, so HIPAA. So we've got a combination of security best practice and compliance standards. And for each one, it's going to show me where I pass on my attainment, if you like, to that standard. So I'm 73% of the way there in terms of CIS benchmarks for AWS. Then drilling into these, what we're also going to be able to see is exactly where I pass and where I fail out of there. So if I drive into the network area, for instance, these are the individual requirements of each standard, and your infrastructure has automatically been mapped to these requirements. Then we're going to flag up the affected resources that mean you're not achieving that standard, and then you would dive straight back into that alerting view that I showed you a moment ago. You can assign those tasks out. So too often, compliance is the laborious task that you have to do at the end of the year or halfway through the year, and have to divert resources across from other projects to get that achievement of it. This is allowing you to have that drip, drip, drip approach. So you're bringing compliance into standard workflows. So you chip away and you maintain these standards throughout the year, and just making it easier for your teams to manage that alongside business generating projects ultimately. Okay, so that's our reporting view. What I will just do briefly is also, and that's how we look at it. So we've covered how we'd identify RDP, we've looked a bit at reports, we've looked at auto remediation guidance. What I'll then do is just quickly show you how we would help you identify these overprivileged IAM roles within your environment. IAM, identity access management, increasingly used by attackers, was used in a big financial firm breach last year, which I won't name. But attackers are using overprivileged access, so people with excessive permissions, to get into the environment and move around the environment based on those privileges. So we want to help you work to the principle of least privilege, appropriate permissions for people to perform their roles and no more. Okay, so IAM is used as a vector by attackers primarily because it's hard to police. It's hard to get good visibility of IAM because it is a bit of a mess of spaghetti ultimately, as you can see here. So what we do uniquely here is to visualize those relationships between individual groups of users, individual users, and service roles as well within your environment. And once we're there, well, actually, I'll just come back out of that just for a moment. Now, all my users are particularly badly behaved because this is a demo environment. But for you, you could flick this toggle over here to prioritize where you focus. That overprivileged toggle is just going to show me any users who have not accessed certain services in the last 12 months. So overprivileged, they have permissions they do not need or use quite clearly. And then from there, we can dive into those individual roles, if you like. So here I have a group, they can access Lambda, they can access logs and S3 storage. And I can see exactly why they are overprivileged, as in they have access to all of these services, 18, they haven't accessed any of them in the last 12 months. 5 of those are particularly high risk. For instance, my S3 storage might contain sensitive customer information and attackers want to get hold of that. So this is the importance of this. It can then help you to right size that policy. So to dive in, build a new policy for that group and apply it into your environment. So making it easy again for you to remediate these particular issues. Okay, so with that, that's RDP, that's IAM. What I will now do is just very briefly flick back from my demo into PowerPoint to show you how we're protecting cloud data and shared storage within your environments. We do this in sort of 3 different ways. The first here, Sophos can help prevent data loss and leakage here first through our managed threat response service. So that's where we're protecting and monitoring cloud environments for unauthorized user access around the clock, 24/7. Cloud Optix in the center there, Cloud Optix can then automatically discover any storage buckets, databases, hard drive snapshots to create that accurate inventory. So, you can see it, you can secure it is the name of the game here, but also to analyze those configurations to ensure data is encrypted and doesn't allow attackers to access it from the public internet. And then importantly, to secure your workloads from malicious attacks or secure your data in particular, InterceptX for server from Sophos is there to stop ransomware by intercepting its behavior and automatically rolling back any changes to those files to prevent data loss and to minimize downtime within the environment. That's really how we're helping to hit those 3 areas. Yeah.
Are you sharing any PowerPoint as well? Because we don't see anything.
That is strange. I
think there were a couple of more slides that you wanted to show after demo, I believe.
Oh, sorry about that. That's how bizarre. The demo seemed to have cancelled out my share somehow.
Now,
so I hope you took all that in, but please take a screenshot. That was what I was intending to share. So hopefully you can see that. So sorry about that.
No problems.
No problem. Wonderful. So I'm very conscious of time. I had 2 little slides just to wrap up here. So that is really, that's Cloud Optix. That's cloud security posture management in a nutshell. Sophos can also provide you with a much broader portfolio. I think it's important that you take things like CSPM tools as part of a wider strategy, as the baseline, if you like, for your cloud strategy. Sophos, as you can see there, is also including things like firewall, server protection, MTR, incident response, and so on. So the key area of the portfolio here is enabling you to connect into environments securely, secure any of your networks within the cloud, protect your data, protect your workloads, and help you do that from development all the way up to production environments. So we can talk to you about any of these services. That's no problem. And before we sort of dive into questions, I will just leave you with these kind of 4 key questions that come up a lot in terms of customer conversations. First one is, make sure you're clear on your responsibilities for security in the cloud. Look at your cloud provider's shared responsibility model. Make sure you're securing anything you run or store in the cloud. Make sure you've got that, look at how you're maintaining visibility of resources, because ultimately, if you can see it, secure it. Really is the main point here. If you're looking at introducing new development processes, just think about how your business or your customer demands might evolve over time. Does your cloud strategy need to introduce security into development at some point in the future? Either that's 1-2 years into the future, if not now. Look at how a provider has that vision to support you long term. And think about how you would respond to a threat at 3 a.m. in the morning, how you would monitor multi-cloud environments. For that point, managed services, MTR, these can be kind of key areas to consider there for your organization. And if you would, we've obviously also got time now for Q&A, but I'll just keep the URL on screen there as we dive through Q&A. If you want to try Cloud Optix, head over to sophos.com/cloud-optix, and that is available for a 30-day free trial there for you. It is also available for you on AWS Marketplace as well. So if you have any consumption commitments with AWS, you can also use any Sophos products on Marketplace to reduce that commitment with AWS as well, if you have those in place. So it's another interesting facet of how we can help you. Cool, and yeah, thank you very much. I hope that's been helpful. I think I've seen my chat window go off during the session, so let's see if we have any questions.
Right, Rich. So great session. Overall, great insights around how to secure public cloud environment. For Q&A, I would request folks, please raise your hand if you want to ask live question. I will unmute you and then you can ask whatever question you have. Before we dive into Q&A tab and look at the questions which are out there. So I see about 4 people have raised their hand. I will call their name and then you can unmute yourself. So Mr. Murugan, please go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. Can you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Richard. It's an excellent presentation from the top management to the operational to the tactical level. Visibility is there and the internals also available. I have 2 questions. One is, what kind of a contract to have as the cloud service provider to implement the Optix?
Sorry, could you just repeat that? We just lost you for half of the question. Could you just repeat that?
What type of contract we should have with the cloud service to go ahead with the cloud Optix? In all the devices, we have to install any.
There is a lot of noise, Murugan. We can't really hear. I think
I can try and answer what I heard there. So I think the main point I heard there was, what sort of contract do you need with your cloud provider to start using Cloud Optix? So you would just be so really Cloud Optix is not reliant on any contracts you have with, say, AWS or Azure. You would be consuming, you're using, say, AWS to purchase infrastructure and services with them. Cloud Optix, and I'll use this to answer another question on if Cloud Optix is PaaS or not. So I'll do a double hit here. Cloud Optix is just is an agentless service and is using read-only access into your cloud environments. So from Cloud Optix's perspective, all you need to deploy some scripts within your cloud environment, and that's going to give Cloud Optix access to view that inventory information. It's going to allow it to collect log data from your environments to assess security posture. So no need to have specific agreements in place with AWS. This is just, you're just creating a connection from Optix into your cloud provider accounts through read-only access. And to answer the "is it PaaS" question, it's managed through a SaaS console. So SaaS from that point of view, but this is completely agentless, just read-only access. So in the same way as any central service, this is really a SaaS service from that point of view, but nothing to install. That is the big point here. Nothing to install, download, or anything like that from a risk perspective within the organization. Hope that helps. I hope I managed to cover half of it at least.
Yeah, great. Next is Mr. Prabhakar. Mr. Prabhakar, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My question is that I heard that it detects that misconfigurations and in the cloud and all. I just wanted to know, does it do any virtual patching or just it will only scan and alert you that there is a misconfiguration?
Yeah, it doesn't actually perform any. It's not a patch management service, but it will integrate with cloud provider services that assess patch status on your, say, your EC2 instances or something like that, and will flag that to you if you need to go and patch those machines. So that is available, but it's not going to automatically apply the patch for you. That's from like a sort of, I suppose, traditional patch management status. If we're looking at things like like sort of CVEs and things like that, it can also identify those CVEs that might be present, sort of vulnerabilities from that perspective. Also, in terms of container images, this is obviously a newer area of security for a lot of organizations, but container images often can include vulnerabilities like OS vulnerabilities and so on, and it can be hard for a developer will take a container image, use it, customize it, and so on, often from a public registry, and security might not have visibility over those OS vulnerabilities within the environment. So it can actually assess those container images as well for vulnerabilities. It'll prioritize any risk of those images as well in terms of the severity of the CVEs. It'll also identify any new images that might be available for you to use within the environment. And very soon, in the next quarter, we're actually employing some new sort of guardrails, if you like, to those features to make it so the security team could say, this image can only be used within my environment if it doesn't contain vulnerabilities in the first place. So yeah, it's not necessarily automatically applying kind of patch management and vulnerability and within the environment, but it's flagging those to you and helping you to perform those actions to fix them as quickly as possible. That's really a lot of the time based on customer feedback that they want to retain the right access into the environment. What is a right size for one organization who don't have a development team, for instance, or don't work in a certain industry is not the right choice of fix for another organization. So we just trying to maintain that flexibility for people.
No, my point is from misconfiguration, not from the patching perspective. Patching is different, I understand. The OS patching and all. I'm not talking about patching, either application patching or the OS. We were talking about misconfiguration, like, some ports are open and
okay.
port and all. If at all you detect some vulnerable port is open by mistake, if hardening is not done properly, is your solution has got any protection mechanism by which that port cannot be exploited, so that it
yes.
will automatically stop traffic from that port?
Yes. Okay. So yes, we do have guardrails. So you can set these guardrails up to say if that port gets opened or that S3 bucket gets set to public, stop that from happening in the first place. But the main piece of feedback from our customers has been more around give me webhooks, as in I want to define a Lambda function to say if that port becomes open, deploy Lambda function to close that immediately. That's where we're moving from a product perspective to give you more flexibility of how you remediate, because an open S3 bucket for one company might be the wrong thing to be doing. An open S3 bucket for another company might have a completely valid reason. So it's very hard to do a black and white kind of policy for all customers. So yes, it does. In answer to some of your question, through guardrails at the moment, we will be moving to this webhook scenario where you can define your custom kind of correct kind of remediation route for your organization today, and we're continuing to build on that with a library of webhooks going forward.
Great.
Okay.
I think we are running out of time, so we cannot take more question. Sorry guys, what I would recommend is you post your question in a Q&A tab, and then Sophos team will compile the question and answers, and we will share it with all the participants. Okay, with that, over to you, Mehul Bhai, for Kahoot quiz.
Great. I'm just sharing my screen now. So thank you, Richard. If you can allow me to share my screen, please. Perfect. Thank you.
I hope everybody knows how to play Kahoot quiz.
Great. So can you see my screen? I'm just
Yeah, we can see it now.
great. The pin is just loading in.
Good luck, everyone. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, what's happening? So just the game pin is just coming up. Open your smartphone devices, type in kahoot.it, and you will be asked to your name and enter the pin. Please put your name, which we can identify out here.
Yeah, I mean, last time also a couple of people entered their nickname and we do not know who DG is. Like, for example, somebody has named himself as DG. We don't know. Even if you win, you will not be able to get the prize. So we have about 229 participants I can see right now.
Right.
So go ahead, guys, get into Kahoot. I think, what are the giveaways this time, Mehul Bhai?
So I think the lockdown is getting eased. The cases are getting down. We don't know about third wave, but I am very optimistic person. So what I am thinking to give away as a cool leather bag, which people can start using it. Cool leather laptop bag. It's amazing, made up of leather, and which winners can
Okay.
use when offices are on. So I think that would be a great one to have it this time around. We gave a lot
Very
of
nice.
smart
Very
weighing
nice.
scales to keep them fit.
Very
But I think now let's move forward to our new scenarios opening up.
So weighing scale and then a foot massager and then a
Foot
leather bag, right?
leather bag, yes.
Okay, cool. I think there are 144, 144 people right now, 45. Let's get started, guys, because we still have closing to be done and we might run out of time. So, okay, start, please.
150, start. Yeah,
150 start, yeah.
great. So here comes the first question. Some of the questions will be from Richard, and some of the questions were given by Vikas ji to ask the audience, which is more of a generic one. So let's see how it goes. The first question is, what percentage of attacks targeting cloud resource misconfigurations? Is it 70%, 66%, 50%, or 80%?
I think someone is giving answer in the chat box. I'll request him to answer on your mobile screen with whom you have entered actually in the game.
Yes, thank you, Naveen. That's important. So great. I think majority of the one has given the correct answer. So Richard, do chip in when you want to give any justification or clarification. Feel free.
We have no time for justification. It's
Okay,
12:07. So sorry, Richard. Sorry, Newell bhai.
perfect. So I think Sridhar, Lucas, Raman, Pankaj, Abhishek Bansalji, everyone's topping the chart. Going to next question. I think fastest finger with the correct answer will bring you on the top of the charts. The most worrying potential breach points in organization security posture is, what do you think, guys? Exposed RDP, data storage misconfigurations, overprivileged IAM roles, or all of the above? Great. Let's see the leaderboard. Oh, we have a new set of winners topping the charts. So running to the next question, we have 8 questions. This is the third one. Some of the Sophos questions. What is the name of cloud management platform to manage all the Sophos solutions centrally? Is it Sophos Firewall? Is it Sophos Managed Threat Response, MTR, Sophos Central, or ZTN, Zero Trust Network Access? Easy one, huh? Great. Thank you. Let's see the leaderboard. Who is clicking the fingers?
Sridhar is in steroids. Sridhar
Yeah.
is maintaining his top position.
He has mastered the art, sir, I think. Great. Fourth question. Name of the Sophos Cloud Security Posture Management Solution. I think this
should get right, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it should be 100%.
I have never seen that happening. I have never seen that happening, but let's see.
Let's make the record today.
So 146, 40, 51 answers, 52 answers. Let's see.
Oh my God.
They are so people pay attention.
Great.
Cloud Optix is the solution. Great. So Sridhar is still maintaining. Kiran is catching up. Pankaj. Wonderful. Great.
Next
Let's
question.
do the next one. Yeah.
Okay. Which Sophos solution can be deployed to protect cloud workloads like endpoints and servers? Richard did cover this in his slide. And after this, we have 3 industry questions, which was provided by Vikas ji.
And it is one of our flagship product of Sophos basket.
Intercept attacks for endpoints and server from Sophos. Yes, great.
Oh, Kiran first now. Very nice. Kiran, Pankaj, Jay, Abhishek, and Abe, whatever your number is, you are going to be unlucky even if you come in the top 5. We don't know who you are. So
I think it's a mobile number. It's a mobile number which he has mentioned.
Okay, we can check. So 2 from Mumbai and 2 from Delhi chapter.
Yeah, great.
Come on, let's go ahead, guys.
This is going to be an interesting one. In a zero trust cloud security approach, moves the perimeter closer to the protected areas, expand the perimeter to end user devices, or none of the above. I think I missed option A. My bad.
Copy paste error, I guess.
Yeah.
Mistake you make the job easy for the participants. And now they have to close up the peak.
Next question. Elastic computing is related to which of the following cloud characteristics? Is it security? Is it integrity? Is it scalability? Is it distribution?
Everybody should get right, I believe.
More than 100? Let's see.
More than 100. It should be more than 100. Otherwise, what's the use of conducting all these webinars? And more than 100. Thank you, guys.
Great. So last question before that we see the leaderboard.
Yeah. So Abhishek, Prashant N. Very nice. Okay. Let's go ahead.
Yeah.
This one is
okay. The tough one. The OCCI formed in the year 2009, 2007, 2003, or 2010.
If you have to Google it fast, guys.
2009.
22 people.
So I think this will change the this will change the leaderboard. Yeah. Let's see who's topping the chart. Starting with the podium, number 3, Prashant. I think from South.
From Bangalore, I believe. Yes.
Bangalore. Abhishek Bansalji.
From Delhi. Very nice.
And Shrikant Sahuji.
From Mumbai. Very nice. So
great.
We have 5 winners, right?
Right. So we have Prashant and Chetan as well, 4th and 5th.
Okay. Right. And you will share this information with me, and all winners are going to get the bag, right? It's not different for top 3 and.
No. Everyone will get the cool Sophos smart leather bags.
Okay. Cool. Great. Congratulations, everyone. Thanks a lot. Let me share my screen now. It's already 12:13, so I'll speed it up a little bit. So guys, if you want a certificate like this for your participation in the webinar, what you can do is go to EliteCISOs website, www.elitecisos.com, click on events, click on upcoming events, and click on CP certificate link. Once you click on CP certificate link, it will ask you for your name, your email address, and the secret to download the certificate is KEYBOARD, keyboard. Okay. So the password is keyboard. Why keyboard? Because this week, July 4th, 1956, first time keyboard was used with a computer. Okay. That's the significance of the word keyboard. So the password is keyboard. You can go ahead and download your certificate. And while you are here on this screen to download your certificate, what you can do is you can also register for next week webinar that we are doing with Sentinel-1. This webinar is around how do you protect yourself against ransomware and how do you reduce the dwell time. So it's going to be interesting session. John is going to join us from Germany. He's with Sentinel-1 and he will talk about the dwell time reduction for ransomware. So interesting session. What you can do is if you click on register now, you will find that the registration is not yet open. So why it is not open? Because I'm going to open it now. First 150 people to register for it will be in the Wheel of Fortune raffle. Okay. We already see 13 people have registered because they knew about our pattern that every week we conduct these webinars. So they went to the website and registered. I'm going to open it now. So now it is available. You can go to the EliteCISO website, click on register now, and then you can register for this next week's webinar. First 150 people will be part of the Amazon Alexa raffle that we do as part of Wheel of Fortune. Okay, guys. And once you are on website, go under the trainings and upcoming training section. What we are doing is we are coming up with a lot of activities to keep you occupied over the weekend as well, right? Lockdowns are being lifted. Mehul Bhai is saying that people will start to go to office, but we still want people to stay indoors because you never know about Corona. So this week on Saturday itself, we have an excellent session coming up with VMware around Zero Trust Network Architecture. So you can register for it. And then on 24th July, 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, we have an exclusive workshop on cyber insurance. I think it is very important that every CIO and CISO, they should be aware about at least cyber insurance because ransomware we have seen is impacting a lot of organizations. So this is our third workshop in this series. I think it's a nominal cost, maybe about 2,000 rupees for EliteCISO members. It's a 4-hour workshop. So what I recommend is if you are interested into cyber insurance, you want to understand about it, so go ahead and register for it. So where it is, just go to EliteCISO's website, training. Under training, you will find both these options to register for VMware workshop as well as cyber insurance. Membership, guys, is also I wanted to mention we have a lot of new people joining in. So if you are not EliteCISO member, you can go to the membership option and you can fill this form. Remember that the membership is restricted only to CIOs and CISOs. I mean, you are more than welcome to attend the sessions, but we have got dedicated WhatsApp group for different cities. So if you want to be part of those city WhatsApp groups, you got to be CIO or CISO. That's what we do in terms of adding people in the specific groups. Okay. I think last thing that people are waiting for is Wheel of Fortune. So Wheel of Fortune giveaway today is a foot massager, again sponsored by Sophos. Thanks for that. So you will see that 100 people are here on this list. Okay. As I said last time, top 100 people to register will be part of this Wheel of Fortune. As I mentioned for Sentinel-1, we already see 106 participants for that or registrations for that. So that's great. We still have 43 more slots. So register for that webinar. Coming back to Wheel of Fortune. So these 100 people were the first 100 to register. Okay. And we have removed all the Gmail and Yahoo IDs. Those are not eligible. Let me quickly run. If your name comes, go to the chat window and then say yes that you are attending the webinar. Okay, good luck everyone. This is a very nice foot massager that we have got today. Okay, running it now. And goes to Mumbai, I believe, Mr. Suhas Maskar from Octave. Mr. Suhas, are you there? If yes, go to the chat, type your Rajesh Panchal. Why you are typing yes, I don't know. Rajesh Panchal ji. Suhas, I don't think you are there in the session. You just registered. Okay.
Oh, I think he mentioned yes.
No. I don't see him. Oh, Suhas Maskadi. Yes, you are there. Very nice. Great. Congratulations. give me your address, and over the WhatsApp, we will ship it to you. Again, congratulations. That's about it, I believe. Great session, Richard. Thanks everyone for joining in. We had great participation today. At a point, we hit about 235 participants. So thanks for joining in. Recording will be available on EliteCISOs website if you want to refer it back. With that, thanks, Richard. Thanks, Sophos team. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.